Video. Might be about a lot of subjects. You see how it goes. Yeah, see what I get to. Got there a light on. I don't know if I like that. Anyway, alright, first things first, I suppose. So, this is just a generic comment. You know, I read this a lot. Too stupid to figure out that rape is a bad thing. You have to understand that Rizzle is a jokey guy. A jokey sort of guy. If you take those jokes seriously, you'll just be punching fog. Well, first off, you know, really, is that the way you want the world to work? I mean, should CNN, and I know Fox is always telling jokes. I mean, that's the way you deal with problems in the world, is you just make fucking jokes, right? An endless stream of foggy jokes, actually, right? I mean, the jokes are kind of foggy about what exactly you're joking about. But, I mean, realistically, what is this? Is this, you really think that's the way it's working on the internet? You think that really the people listening to The Amazing Atheist are really, you know, they're intellectuals, and they don't fall for any of this nihilistic, selfish motherfucker kind of rhetoric. They're not falling for it. They're not perceiving the world that way. I mean, it's just this is called the rationalization. I just thought I'd let you know that there is a word for this. It's called rationalization. Find out where he really stands if you can. Huh? Yeah. Well, isn't that interesting? I mean, yeah. Let's find out if he stands with Thunderfoot in his understanding of rape as being something that if you're only really raped if you go to the police. It's like you're only really raped if you have a big bag of evidence, you know, conclusive proof. Like if I have video and you have lots of physical evidence and like maybe even a broken jaw, then you're really raped, but only then. Does he believe that? And if you do, you'll probably find out his actual beliefs are similar to yours. Fuck you. Yes. See, I'm smart enough to know that you don't sit there and tell jokes, first off, about subjects that are rather important to people. And second, yeah, there's no confusing it, okay? He's rubbing the ball sack of fucking women haters who are pretty much like the guy who jumped off the building and the guy who shot up people because he wasn't getting enough. And he blamed somebody else for that fact. And yeah, so these men who have to blame women for their inability to play the game, you know, to be alpha enough, you know, it's the woman's fault. I just thought, just to make this a little bit intelligent, this conversation, you can compare bonobos and chimpanzees, right? Interesting comparison. So one is a matriarchy kind of thing, you know, the women have the status. So if you're born to the alpha female, you'll gain status just because she's the alpha. And in chimpanzees, it's the opposite. Okay, the males are the alpha, and and the males go to other tribes to dominate them, due to, you know, to prevent the inbreeding. And the bonobos, it's the other way around. The females leave, you know, the young ones, to go dominate some other pack, you know, to see if they can alpha themselves there. But you'd see that the two societies, the irony is that the society that has the liberal sex, okay, and the less, is the less confrontational, is the bonobos, run by the women, and the society where sex is only takes place mostly 90% or 80% with alphas, and the only way betas get any is to commit rape. Okay, it's like that with orangutans too, unfortunately. But I mean, that's the downside is that you end up creating the concept of rape essentially in the male alpha dominated civilization versus the female dominated civilization. So that's the irony of this rubbish. Is that women aren't a threat to you getting some. That's the irony. You know, if you give them full control, you'll end up getting more in the end. So, you know, get your head out of your ass and, you know, try to smell a reality flower somewhere. and quit defending people placating and massaging ignorant, stupid, hateful retards. You stupid fucking retard. He believes 100% that rape is a bad thing. I don't think he does, actually. Not even close to 100%. Anyway. People are just so fucking stupid. So then there was the modern mystic. Oh, yeah, I got a couple of comments to make on him. So maybe I'll just back my way into it here. Let's see. Yeah, with the what the fuck. We'll get to one little comment here by him. But it's another word, you know, they were playing semantics games again. So here it is. The clue is in the word coping, from coping mechanism. So yes, he evades the subject by essentially saying, well, you've improperly understood the word coping. And I would argue that no, society has fundamentally misunderstood all of these concepts, and they have displaced words like solution or resolution or fix or solve with idiotic words like cope, and then found excuses not to fix problems but just acclimate to them. So my argument is like, if you were going to say, how do we cope with global warming? I mean, clearly, unless you want to play some semantics game, it would be clearly legitimate to say, well, one of the ways of coping with it is to prevent future damage, you know, to prevent any more damage. And so one of the ways to cope would be to solve the problem by not creating the problem. So even if I was to concede there's some value in this semantics bullshit, you know, I'll say touche that I can find plenty of common uses of the word cope that don't have to do with just acclimating to something, but have to do with actually fixing something. And fundamentally, I would say it's just stupid to have a word in our vocabulary where you imply that you're going to do something about something and you take fixing it off the table. That's retarded, fundamentally, as a word then. So maybe it's a word we shouldn't use anymore, and we should just use words like, how do you react, or how do you resolve, or how do you fix, and we should just not even play with this stupid word, coping, if people like you are going to limit its scope to, no, it only means in this context. So, yes, I think part of coping with life is recognizing when you're done playing. when your piece no longer has any squares or anything to acquire or anything to do, part of coping with life is recognizing when it's time to quit playing the game. Yeah. So I just say bullshit to that. Alright, then another modern mystic video. Oh, we're moving right along, aren't we? I'll just play the ending of it. Let's go here, so.
The civilization of the United States, as are cops, nurses, very annoying people at the town hall that say you've got to fill this form in to be able to do that, or this, or that, or the other.
Yeah, the sync is off.
It's the civilization of America that gives the dollar its buying power.
Yeah. See, this I think is just absolutely wrong. You know, he says it's more about the FDA than the Fed. And, you know, lots of places can have bureaucracies, and that just doesn't have anything to do with the value of the dollar. Again, the dollar is valuable because we haven't printed them yet. And yet is the key word. I mean, okay, most countries that have a defunct currency, it's defuncted, okay, by the fact that they actually printed the currency. Okay, the Japanese printed it. They printed themselves into inflation. Certainly all the South American countries, although the hyperinflation was a real inflation created by printing money. I mean, it's the way the value of the currency gets defuncted is printing it. Alright, and so the only thing that saved the United States is that its bonds are still good, frankly, and that it can still manage to find some way to pay them. But we know that they're not really doing that now, are they? they put $5 trillion of their bond interest duties, okay, into reserve accounts. Again, where the future is going to have to figure out how to buy them out of those reserve accounts. So, to even talk about how America is strong, as if America is strong for some good reason, and it's not strong merely because it's able to play the gimmick games firstest and bestest. That's all it is, though. It's a gimmick. And it's going to wear off. And America's just had the luxury of having lots of millionaires in it for a long time. And it's not even got a hold on that anymore. So once the capital, and it's got the American stock market. I mean, it's got some advantages, and those advantages are the only reason why this bankrupt country has any power left whatsoever. Because it is bankrupt. It does produce nothing but shit, and that's a fact. So all of this crap that America is doing just fine is crap. The Chinese are better off. They have industrialized. They have the means of production. And all they have to do is have some kind of revolution or something where they say, yeah, we're going to take back possession of it. We're going to own it instead of having somebody else own it. The downside there is that obviously the Chinese are enslaving the Chinese, so they've created the rich man problem. So they're going to live the same horror that we're living out. But obviously that's where the wealthy are getting the wealthiest the fastest, isn't it? And yes, it is. And the wealth here is what? It's all made out of what? Stock certificates. Yeah, that have no fundamental value. So I guess I'll just throw in my one argument here that the real key, the thing that has kept America alive for the last 10 or 15 years, is the fact that they realize they can't let anybody go bankrupt, anybody who matters. So it's everybody is too big to fail now. I mean, anybody in real business is too big to fail. And so they've basically created all kinds of schemes to take a bunch of garbage and keep it from going bankrupt. So the stock market has a whole percentage of its crap that isn't real crap. I mean, it's absolute crap, and they've guaranteed it. The government said, don't let it go bankrupt, because if you let that piece of paper go bad, the guy who owns it is going to force somebody else to pay their bad debt, and then that guy's going to have to force somebody else to pay their bad debt. All this bad debt that nobody can pay. And then there'll be a cascade, a flood of bankruptcy. So if you prevent the first bankruptcy, yeah, you can prevent the run on the bankruptcy courts. But that's what's holding it. That's the only thing holding this, keeping this thing alive, is the fact that all that bubble pressure, in the real estate market and all this other stuff, they put a patch, a hole, and they're going to keep it. They're going to keep the bubble. They can't let the bubble decrease, because as it decreases, it'll gain acceleration and go faster and faster until everybody realizes that, more than half of this crap in the stock market is absolute crap. Okay, and the way they did it, though, is to insure it with federal insurance. So the federal insurance can't possibly cover, it's like flood insurance, the federal insurance can't possibly cover the liability. So they're going to have to come up with, if the liability is ever realized, if they ever have to really be an insurance company, then the Fed goes bankrupt, because it's not going to have the money. It's not going to have the trillions of dollars it's guaranteed. And it won't have any place to get the trillions of dollars. So that's when it'll be done. But it's going to get done. It's going to happen. Just like, remember the famous insurance company, what the hell was it called? Lloyd's of London. Who would think, oh, Lloyd's of London go bankrupt? Yeah, like 4 times, right? Yeah, because we're spread too thin. There's no real insurance behind the fake statement that this stuff is okay. The government guarantees it. Well, that guarantee doesn't mean shit. And you know it. I think you know it. So anyway, it doesn't have anything to do with this much. Well, let's play a little more of it.
As long as people think America is civilized, they will use the dollar. They will accept the dollar.
Now, they'll use the dollar as long as we only have 1.29 trillion of them in circulation. But as soon as that Fed crap, that quantitative easing bullshit in the reserve accounts, as soon as a bank has a right or reason to pull that out of those accounts, that's printed money. And there's $5 trillion in there. So 1.29 trillion, okay, plus 5 trillion means that you've, what, a 500% increase in the amount of cash in the world. I think that'll make a difference in how much people will be willing to take cash. If they know that the dollar they're given today is going to be worth 50 cents in a year, I don't think they're going to be too willing to be holding anything called cash or anything denominated in cash.
Here's a thinky. Using the FDA as representative of these bureaucratic ball-brain bollockheads that we all hate.
I just don't know why you make rationalizations for these hugely inefficient, self-serving, graft-littered, incredibly wasteful mechanisms. I mean, they just suck the blood out of any value we produce. They're just pretty much like the loafy rich, you know, the loafy government employee middle class, the $129,000 grammar school teacher is just sucking value out of the economy.
I would say that the FDA...
with a bunch of consumption not justified by production. You know, you just, you know, we're a nation of consumption, and that just logically, you've got to say, that's not a good balance. Consumption is not a good thing. Production is a good thing. Those are sort of like the fundamental truths here, and obviously America has totally, you know, lost the vision thing when it comes to being a producer rather than a consumer. I mean, I just don't, I mean, you don't have to do much, but just go back. You go back to 50 years ago and just say, well, yeah, that equation made much more sense. Workers were getting, their salaries are going up for real work, and the salaries of the loafers was going down. So that was all good. And Ronald Reagan fooled people into changing that rational equation.
It is more important to the power of the dollar than the Fed is.
So, I mean, obviously the Fed controls the currency. The Fed controls the integrity of the dollar based on how many dollars are in circulation. He doesn't think it makes any difference. Bank digit, government digit, same thing. And it's not the same thing. The dollar is the dollars. And as soon as the dollars are dissed by overproduction, all of the bank digits turn to shit too. But the only thing that keeps them alive is the fact that we haven't printed the money. And when you start printing the money, it will be game over. And it won't matter how big the FDA is. Anyway, enough of that, I suppose. Yeah, I could play. I mean, he just says the same thing over 3 times, so it doesn't. There's nothing new. So let's play a little bit. I couldn't watch this video so bad. So let's go to like maybe here, where he starts doing this life affirmation thing, and then starts talking about riding his fucking tiger again, and it's just so obnoxious. Oh, this cat has just been a pain in the ass all morning.
But
no, I gave you food. All right, you're just not getting anything else at this particular moment. No. Look, you have food in the dishes. This is the food you get. See, this is dry food and that's wet food. And yes, maybe it's a little cold, but go ahead. Lick it a little. It'll get better. Oh, sorry. Ugh. I mean, he's turned into such a... See, that's what happens to you, right? Like, America's gotten lazy and stupid and retarded. And now it just, like, it just licks its food now. And now I have to take the food and give it to the other cats. He licks it, and then I give it to the other cats. It's just stupid.
I find the Jane version of willpower is more a version of how to avoid bad things. Let's say that you take Jainism to its ultimate extent and you want to practice salikana, you want to engage in that, you want to starve yourself to death.
Whatever. Yeah, want is just a tricky word here, so he always uses words to just make it sound blah, 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 but you just concede to the argument that life is stupid, and yes, getting out makes sense. But obviously this is in a context, right, where people have silly notions. Like say, I get out, I kill myself in this ritualistic way, under the rules, and that somehow that means I don't get reincarnated. Now, obviously, that's just silly. Okay, I mean, we don't get reincarnated as individual neurologies. We just come back as the same generic organism, right? I mean, look, we look at all cheetahs and we say a cheetah is a cheetah is a cheetah is a cheetah. Well, they're not all the same. We just see them as all the same. They all have unique personalities. It's just that their uniqueness has a limitation. Obviously, our uniqueness isn't quite as limited. But cheetahs probably see us all as just, human. So some of it is just perceptual. I'm not doing this. Get in your chair and shut up. No, shut up. Fuck you too. No. Why talk to him? He's deaf anyway. Anyway. But that's what we do, right? So obviously cats have personalities, right? I mean, there's, cats who, are lovely creatures of little trouble, and then there's cats who aren't lovely creatures of little trouble. That's right, get on your chair and shut up for another 10 minutes. No, just do it. Oh, sorry. God, I never got married. Anyway. Alright, so, where was I? So anyway, there's all these false premises here that just make this conversation ludicrous anyway. Because you're not going to escape, okay? But there is this, so it's just a totally impractical, right? So the Jainists are basically saying, oh, fuck this is stupid. But they're not doing anything really to prevent the fuck this part, which is more cheetahs will be in the world tomorrow than are in the world today. And they're not doing much to prevent that from happening because they aren't really recognizing what causes the more part, which is all the reckless procreation and such. So they ought to be, pro-condom, and they ought to be like knitting condoms in sweatshops and stuff. Yes, tear the couch to pieces on the chair. Oh, those claws are just insane. And then he does that shit. He gets his claw stuck. Oh, you got your claw stuck. Come on, get up there. Stop it. All right. Anyway, so there's no, they ought to be knitting, condoms, and they ought to be telling people, quit imposing life on me. Quit playing games with my welfare. Until you can make a copy of yourself and fuck yourself in the ass, quit fucking me up by throwing me into your slop. Because you don't have any standards, because you don't want to go for the perfection thing. Well, that's your business then. I mean, you ride the unicycle. He calls it riding the tiger. Yeah, so we'll get to that part. I mean, it's a clown in a fucking circus riding a unicycle, and he calls that riding the tiger.
That requires near superhuman willpower.
Oh, whatever. It really does it. I mean, it's a perfectly valid way to die. I mean, it does kind of work, and by the end, you get into such a mystical state in your brain that it's not all that bad. I mean, people have testified going through the process, and it's just not that bad. I mean, as ways to die, it's not the worst one in the world.
Why are you doing that, though? To avoid another existence.
And yeah, see, obviously it doesn't really work that way. Condoms are much more effective than starving yourself to death at preventing another existence.
You're doing something that requires almost superhuman willpower to avoid something that's even worse than the possibility of fasting oneself to death.
Fasting oneself to death. See, he wants to make it sound, but even look, some of it is horrible. I mean, they catch themselves on fire. I mean, that's obviously brutal. So you could argue, you know, but again, it's totally ineffectual in the sense that they're so wrongly premised. This completely wrong premise that this thing has existed for 4 billion years or something. You know, since the beginning of life, I've existed, and I just keep re-existing. You know, it's just, you know, like I am the same. I was a rhinoceros, or I'm this, or I mean, that's why the cows are sacred, because they're supposed to be humans who are evolving still. I mean, it's stupid. So why do we have to have the context a stupid premise? Oh, that's right, because you're a stupid motherfucking cunt human. I can't have a rational conversation about living in reality, and instead has to make fucking propaganda videos. I mean, this guy is such he's such a manipulator. I hate proselytizing. His videos are just wall-to-wall fucking proselytizing for this silly, crappy gay shit. Sorry, gay people, but god damn it. This should be a gay word. Tantra. Tantra. Oh, fuck. Ooh. Gives me a goddamn fucking spinal shiver just thinking about this shit.
Tantra says,
It's just like, ew, even like as a girl's name it sucks. Tantra. Ugh, she sounds like fucking herpes.
go get on that, tiger.
Oh yeah, a tiger called Tantra. I'm sure there's fucking tigers called Tantra. Oh, you're just so full of shit. Ugh, you gotta be wearing fucking pink panties. I just goddamn know it.
Go deal with the horrors of existence.
Oh yeah, right. Impose them on somebody else. That's how I'll deal with them. I'll go ahead and strap somebody else to the gurney, and then start shoving shit up their ass. Yeah, you're a real dealer, all right. You're a sadistic motherfucking cunt. That's all you are. You're a sadist.
Embrace them and love them. And you'll be surprised what you might find.
Oh yeah, what you'll find is goddamn big giant cancer tumors, and you can look at them on MRI pictures, and then you can spend years shooting them up with all kinds of radiation and other shit to try to see if we can make it a little bit smaller. That's what you'll find. Go to a hospital. Why don't you go visit hospitals every fucking weekend and, you know, do your tantra, you know, go into one of your little rituals and see if your senses might be bludgeoned by the screams. Fucking asshole.
Kind of sounds Nietzschean, but I don't...
Yeah, you are a Nietzschean motherfucker, that's right. You're just as dumb as a goddamn pile of cat shit.
I'm not quite sure that I would agree with that. Tantra actually is, if you ask me, a very personal thing.
Oh yeah, when you're affecting other people, then it's not personal anymore. When you're procreating, that's not called personal, motherfucker. Yeah, again, all of this crap you're talking about, it's just fine. If you want to climb a mountain and fall off of it, fine. Just don't ask me to pick up the pieces. Don't ask me to do a goddamn thing. Alright? You want to be a complete asshole and an imbecile? You want to fuck yourself up? You want to take a knife to your own nuts? Go ahead, crazy fuck. But that's not what you're doing on this planet. What you're doing on this planet is life-affirming bullshit. You're propagandizing for a goddamn stupid game that goes absolutely nowhere because you're too much of an imbecile to concede you've been gamed. You just don't want to admit that you've basically been totally gamed by the game. And so as long as you keep other assholes playing the game, you won't look like as big a fucktard. But guess what? History's going to declare you a fucktard. Thankfully, these videos aren't going to go away. Alright? The future's going to know you for the asshole that you are. And hopefully somebody will go piss on your stupid fucking grave.
Doesn't require you to go out to act in the world, and in fact, it kind of advises against it in a way.
Yes, it advises against doing anything rational about any problems because it's an Indian fucking philosophy, and obviously that place is a fucking shithole. They can't do anything right. Anything. Ever. In the history of India, they've never done anything fucking goddamn right. That's why the place stinks.
Simply because it's so esoteric, it's so peculiar looking to anyone else.
Yes, it's gay and stupid. Yeah, it's a retarded poofter.
Going out and trying to be a tantric publicly, as it were, is, that's dodgy.
Yes, yes, even in dodgy town, even in India, you'd be called an asshole. Oh, there's really no point in making this video. I hate these fuckers.
Having said that, our society has all kinds of ways in which we can act tantrically publicly. In other words, you go to a concert and you commune with the band that's playing on the stage.
Yes, and you're just such a useless sack of shit, and you're just wasting calories and energy. That's right, you're totally an unproductive, useless sack of fucking shit. Okay, doing your tiger tantra dance.
In a sense, you are doing something tantric. You listen to a piece of music or whatever.
Oh, well, whatever. Or you jerk off. Yeah, or you smell your own feet. Or what? yeah, whatever. You molest the cat.
Tantra, in my opinion, has it down to a science.
Yes, down to a science. Be a lazy asshole of no value whatsoever to anything called civilization. Just be a user, an abuser, a motherfucking cunt, selfish asshole. Just sits around watching cartoons all day. Mumbo Jumbo, Mumbo... Oh, let's watch the Mumbo Jumbo show.
Sit down, you meditate long enough. You meditate in both a physical and
yeah,
a mental
blah, blah, blah,
sense.
blah, 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 blah. Yes, I play with my penis too. But I don't call that enlightenment, asshole. I don't call that productive, asshole. I call that recreation, and I don't make fucking goddamn videos about how to waste time fucking masturbating.
And something will happen. You will gain something in the process.
Yeah, whatever. You'll gain the insight of retardation, right? Yes, I can see so much better now that I'm stupid. Yeah, wow. Stupid, dumb. You're just a dumb animal now. That's all you are, is a dumb fucking animal. You pissed your brains.
What you will gain, the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, though, is probably not one that one could possibly describe.
Oh, yeah, he's just so full of shit. Do you really believe this? Anybody? Is anybody falling for this? Look, I'm smiling, I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm happy. You know? Just think of Robin Williams hanging from his doorknob, a noose from his doorknob. Okay, yeah, that's where the funny men end up. There's nothing similar to him and Barney the dinosaur, is there? No, there's no similarities at all. Fuck. Stop there, just stop. Okay, yes, just close the window. He's just an idiot. It's just too fucking stupid. I mean, yeah, it's just... You know what would be really cool? It's like, you know, if there was problems and they were like engineering problems. You know what I mean? They were just so difficult. And you had, oh, okay, so the problems, but we were all trying to solve them, and we're all trying to come up with equations, and we're all trying to do something rational to deal with it. You know, that would just be so much cooler than this shit where we have all these problems and these assholes just have stupid ideas like, let's stick our finger in our ass. You know, let's tell some jokes about rape. Let's just laugh our way through it. Like, that's a great solution. I'll laugh, okay? How's that? Is laugh like, yeah, the laughing equation. I will laugh and jerk off, and that will solve the problem. That's the equation that solves the problem. No. I don't know what the right metaphor is, but you know, it's like you're trying to do something. Like let's say you volunteer, you know, to lay bricks to build a building for the homeless or something, and it's just all these assholes show up and they're just smoking weed and you know, they're just not even coming close to putting brick one on top of brick two. Not even close. And they're saying, "Look, I'm contributing." No, 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 no. You're eating and shitting. You're not contributing. Eating and shitting is not making a contribution.